The bus stop stood at the edge of the old market road, a place where people paused but rarely stayed. Vendors shouted prices that bounced off cracked walls, engines groaned and coughed, and dust settled like a second skin on everything it touched. For most, it was just a waiting point between where they were and where they needed to be. For Amir, it had become a place of quiet dread. He stood near the rusted pole that held a crooked timetable no one trusted anymore, his backpack hanging heavy on one shoulder. Inside were notebooks with half-written lessons, a lunchbox still warm from his mother's hurried cooking, and a letter folded so many times its creases had softened into fabric. The letter was the reason his chest felt tight. It was from the college administration, written in polite language that carried the weight of disappointment. His scholarship was under review. His grades had slipped, his attendance had wavered, and unless things improved, support would be withdrawn. At 17, Amir had learned how quickly life could tilt. His father's death the previous year had pulled the ground from beneath his feet. His mother worked longer hours now, her hands rougher, her eyes always tired. Amir tried to carry his share by tutoring younger children in the evenings and helping at a mechanic's shop on weekends. Sleep became a luxury. Focus slipped away in class, replaced by a constant hum of worry. He told himself he was managing, but the letter said otherwise. The bus arrived late, as usual, and people surged forward. Amir stepped back, preferring to stand near the edge where the noise thinned. His legs felt strangely weak, a trembling he blamed on skipped breakfast. The sun beat down, blurring the world into light and heat. He shifted his weight, and that was when the ground seemed to move. It was not dramatic at first. Just a small misstep, a heel catching on uneven concrete. Amir felt the sudden lurch, the way balance vanished in a heartbeat. His body tipped forward, the heavy backpack pulling him down. For a split second, fear flashed sharp and bright. He saw the curb rushing up, imagined the crack of bone, the embarrassment, the pain. Then there was a hand. It came from the side, firm but gentle, fingers wrapping around his forearm with surprising strength. The fall stopped abruptly, momentum softened into stillness. Amir sucked in a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. The world steadied, noise returning in waves. "You all right, son?" a voice asked, low and calm. Amir turned to see an older man standing beside him. He wore simple clothes, faded from many washes, and his hair was silver at the temples. His eyes, though, were clear and attentive, studying Amir not with judgment but with concern. The hand remained on his arm until Amir nodded. Yes, thank you," Amir managed. His heart still raced, but the danger had passed. The man smiled slightly and released him. "Happens to all of us. Especially when we're carrying too much." Amir glanced at his backpack, then back at the man. There was something in the way he spoke, as if he meant more than the weight of books. Before Amir could respond, the bus doors hissed open again, and the crowd pressed forward. They boarded together, finding seats near the back. The bus lurched into motion, swaying as it navigated potholes. Amir sat stiffly, replaying the moment in his mind. If not for that hand, he would have fallen hard. The thought made his stomach twist. He looked at the man beside him, who gazed out the window, lost in thought. "Thank you," Amir said again, softer this time. I wasn't paying attention." The man turned, offering a warm smile. "Sometimes it's not about attention. Sometimes it's about balance." He paused, then added, "Name's Yusuf." "Amir," he replied. They rode in silence for a few minutes. Amir watched the streets pass by, familiar yet distant. He felt oddly lighter, as if the near fall had shaken something loose. Yusuf shifted in his seat, glancing at Amir with a thoughtful expression. "You looked like you were somewhere else back there," Yusuf said gently. "Mind if I ask what's weighing on you?" Amir hesitated. He wasn't used to strangers asking such questions, and he wasn't used to answering them honestly. But there was something about Yusuf's tone, the absence of pressure, that made the words spill out. He spoke of school, of the letter, of his mother's long hours and his own exhaustion. He admitted his fear of failing, of letting everyone down. As he talked, he felt his throat tighten, emotion rising like a tide he had been holding back for too long. Yusuf listened without interrupting. He nodded at times, his face reflecting understanding rather than pity. When Amir finished, staring down at his hands, Yusuf spoke quietly. "You know," he said, "I once thought falling meant weakness. That if I stumbled, it proved I wasn't strong enough. Took me many years to learn that falling is part of walking. What matters is whether someone helps you up, and whether you accept that help." Amir frowned slightly. "But I don't want to be a burden." Yusuf chuckled softly. "Helping isn't a burden. It's a gift, for both sides." He looked out the window again. "When I was younger, I lost my business. Everything I'd built. I felt ashamed, invisible. One day, I slipped on the stairs at the mosque. An old friend caught me before I hit the ground. He didn't just save me from a fall. He reminded me I wasn't alone." The bus slowed as it approached Amir's stop. He felt a sudden reluctance to leave, as if this brief connection had become something important. "I don't know what to do," Amir admitted. "I try, but it feels like I'm always one step behind." Yusuf stood as the bus stopped. "You take the next step," he said simply. "Not all of them. Just the next one." He placed a small card in Amir's hand. It had a phone number written neatly in blue ink. "If you ever need to talk, or help with your studies, call me. I tutor math at the community center. Used to be a teacher." Amir stared at the card, surprised. "You don't even know me." Yusuf smiled. "I know enough. I know what it looks like when someone is about to fall." The doors opened. Yusuf stepped down, then turned back. "And Amir," he added, "remember that accepting a gentle hand doesn't mean you can't stand on your own. It means you're human." The doors closed, and the bus pulled away. Amir remained seated, the card warm in his palm. The world outside seemed sharper, colors clearer. When he reached his stop, he walked home slowly, thinking about balance, about falling, about the hand that had stopped him. That evening, he showed the letter to his mother. It was the first time he hadn't hidden his worries behind silence. She read it carefully, her brow furrowing, then reached for his hand. Her grip was familiar, steady. They talked long into the night, planning small changes, sharing the load. In the weeks that followed, Amir visited the community center. Yusuf kept his word, patiently explaining equations, helping Amir rebuild confidence one problem at a time. More than that, he listened. He reminded Amir to rest, to eat, to forgive himself for not being perfect. Slowly, grades improved. The scholarship committee granted him another chance. One afternoon, as Amir left the center, he saw a younger boy trip on the steps. Without thinking, Amir reached out, catching him before he fell. The boy looked up, startled, then smiled shyly. "Careful," Amir said, echoing words he hadn't realized he remembered. As the boy ran off, Amir felt a quiet warmth settle in his chest. He understood then that kindness moved in circles, passed from hand to hand, moment to moment. Sometimes it arrived just in time, stopping a fall that could have changed everything. And sometimes, it asked nothing more than the courage to reach out when someone else was about to lose their balance.